Hello and welcome to the BKS podcast, episode 18, with your host, Peter Lant, who should be seated right here. Hello. And I've got an extra special guest on today, Mr. Paul Hurley, who should be seated right here. And Paul used to be a member of BKS, but then he took up running, but never mind. And he still currently holds the 100 metres record for Beach and Cliff School. So he's officially faster than Jason Gardner. But there we go. How's it going, Paul?
Mate, it's all going fantastically.
Good.
Everything's going to plan. Bit bored at the moment, but...
Yeah, you're still getting out and about, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're the rugby tops man of the Southwest, aren't you? I was going to say Bath, but it's the Southwest.
Southwest, yeah, absolutely. Cover classes all over the place, really. Obviously, at the moment, we're a bit stuck. But, hoping to get back to it within middle of next month. We're just looking at a venue for outdoor, social distancing, etc.
And do you do it over summer during the holidays and stuff as well?
All year round, 12 months a year.
Yeah. What age range is it? Just so people know in case they've never heard of you, which is very unlikely.
The youngest we start with is 2. So we do 3 age groups: 2 to 3.5-year-olds, 3.5 to 5, and then 5 to 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's a complete program that people can join in at any time. So whether they join at week 1 or whether they join at week 10, they can pick it up really, really easy. So yeah, it's a fantastic. I've been working for them for the last 13 years. Yeah. 13 years. Coaching probably 500 kids a week in classes, as well as nurseries at schools, etc., around the local area.
What's great about it as well is people saw you were coming to BKS, and they were the dads and stuff, so they ended up coming along as well. So most of the guys who come along, their kids know exactly who you are and all of that, and like most people in Bath do as well. If you like you said, you've been doing it for 13 years. From 2 till 7. So anyone who's 20 and who's got kids who are 20 and below, they're going to know who you are. Right?
It's one of these things now. I'm looking at Facebook, and then these children will pop up, and they're like, they got beards.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But
but you're a granddad now, so that's allowed.
I'm a granddad, absolutely. My little grandson is nearly 3 at the end of August. So bless him. Yeah, he's
blind. Yeah, it's funny because I probably shouldn't say this, but my missus gets that. Sean gets that because she doesn't teach kids anymore, but she's a teacher by trade, but she works in the education system, and she says she started teaching with a kid who she taught in primary school. Yeah. She's a primary teacher, and it was like, oh dear. It's like, how did that happen?
We can't go anywhere. Literally cannot go anywhere without someone coming up with me and saying hi and having a chat, and so every shopping trip takes a little bit longer. But that doesn't happen to me, which is fortunate. But yeah, it must take you ages to get anywhere. You want to start wearing because you got your glasses and that. You want to have a shave and then wear get one of them things with the nose and the tash and everything. That put a wig on. They never know.
I'll tell you what. When I get my hair cut, you can have it and you can put that on. There's loads of it.
That is fair play.
That's lockdown, mate. The funny thing is, I've interviewed a few people on this now. So it was yesterday. That's why I'm wearing the same T-shirt that I interviewed Paul, and he had a shaved head. James St. Pierre, shaved head. Everyone's got a shaved head, and then I'm looking like this. Except Steph, obviously, she hasn't.
No.
So anyway, tell us a bit about. You can talk about whatever you like. However, the reason why I wanted you to get on is because your story's pretty. It's pretty inspiring. You probably don't think so, but everyone else does. So start wherever you like.
First of all, I'll just explain to everyone that I've got an addictive personality, which means that I can get addicted to literally anything. I mean, literally, it could be fruit juice, it could be buying things on the internet, it could be literally anything.
Yogurt with honey in after dinner, right? Remember that?
Literally, I could get addicted. So for example, things like Pepsi Max is another thing, which is something for me which could be highly addictive. And so
how many cans did you used to drink a day when I met you? You said you were on
Yeah, I was spending £121 a month on Pepsi Max alone.
Yeah.
121 a month. So,
and you were buying them cheap as well, weren't you? So it was like,
yeah,
that's a lot.
absolutely, buying multi-packs and stuff. So, so I've always played rugby from a young age. Played rugby. I played at a decent level, county and etc. etc. And then I coached it. I've always loved the sport, and I've loved working with kids, etc. etc. 2005 was a turning point for me in my life. I was just coming out of the game of rugby, and I was getting more involved in the coaching, and the drinking was becoming a bit more sort of norm for the norm. Probably back in the mid 90s, and I started getting a massive problem with alcohol. Alcohol for me was my crutch, and everything in my life, so is all involved alcohol. It involved where I was getting my next fix from, where I was getting my drink, everything I did at work. I was a functioning alcoholic, which meant that I could get on with daily life, and some people wouldn't even know about it. But the whole of my life was revolving around when I can get my next drink. So I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be thinking, when can I get my next beer? And this crept, and it's a slippery slope. And this crept up on me. So it got to the point where I was drinking, if I'm honest, and I am honest, I was drinking up to 24 cans of lager, Stella a night, plus half a bottle of vodka. And I was doing that every single day. My mental health.
I don't think I could take that much.
And these were big. It was either Stella or it was Kronenberg. It was
strong stuff as well.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't. Yeah, we didn't go for the Fosters. We weren't. We were going. We could go hard or go home. and it was everything revolved around the alcohol, and because of the alcohol, my mental health was suffering. And I'd always been quite a fit lad. But everything started to slip, and we get into a cycle of being lazy, and just one day it evolves into another day, and it just rolls and rolls on. Mental health was a major issue. Depression, like you wouldn't believe. I'd attempted my suicide once. I don't think you even know about that, Peter. But
I didn't know about that. Blimey.
There you go. So it was a cry for help. It was a cry for help rather than a real serious effort, to be honest with you.
I don't know that much about that. People go on about it all the time, and I don't know that much about it. But I think I've heard before that people who've attempted it, the thing that they've done when they've jumped off something, as soon as they've jumped or whatever, they've thought, I don't want to do this. No. And that's the thing that runs through your head, is like, actually, I didn't mean this.
No. Yeah, but then it's too late. So I overdosed, and several all these different medications, and ended up in hospital, etc., etc. But 2005, 24th of September 2005, I went to my GP, and I was suffering from major mental health issues. And he said to me, look, we've got this guy the guy called Jimmy in Polk Street Surgery. He's a counsellor. Can he have a chat with you? Blah, 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 blah. So we had a chat, and he said, look, there's this new drug that's coming on the market. He said that it's a placebo trial. So you don't know whether you're going to get the drug or whether you're going to get the placebo. And they'll just track you for 6 months, and then they'll check your results and see how you're doing. And are you up for it? And I went, yeah, I'll try anything. At this point, my GP didn't know what I was. He knew I was a drinker, but he didn't know to what extent. I went back down with my GP.
21 units a week, yeah?
Mate, absolutely. Just over. That's
what everyone says to the GP, isn't it?
I only have 5 fags, and they're only when I'm out. I don't. Yeah. Social smoker. So I went to see him. I had some blood taken. I went home, cracked open a can. I can remember it now. And within probably a couple of hours, I had a phone call from my GP, and he said, "Paul, can you come back to the surgery? So I need to chat with you." So I went back in, and Jimmy was sat there as well. And he said, "Look, we've got your blood results from your liver." He said, "They won't allow you on the trial." And I went, "Why?" Your liver is dying significantly. You've got on what are you, and then I fessed up. That was the 24th of September 2005, so nearly 15 years ago. And my GP sat down and he said, look, I honestly, with these results, he said, I'll give you 2 years. 2 years and you won't be here anymore. And that was the wake-up call that I needed, really, really needed. And I stopped. Because of when I go back to the addictive personality, because, I'm one of these guys, you set your mind to it, you do it. Don't say something and don't do it. Just do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Stopped. I was smoking heavily as well. So whilst I was drinking, I was probably smoking 40, 45 packs a day. Probably 40, 45. That my health has suffered, blah, blah, blah. And that was the wake-up call that I needed. Now, so I stopped. My wife was, I've been married now for 27 years this year.
Yeah.
If I get that right. We've been together 31 years. I've got four children. The children were all small, obviously, so 15 years ago. My youngest child now is at Manchester Uni. He's youngest child. He's 21 now. So it's really good actually, because I spoke to him the other day and I said to him, "Can you ever remember me smoking?" And he went, "No," which is good, because it means it's that long ago. And he would have been, well, you do the math. I'm not very good at maths, but yeah,
6,
7 years old. Yeah, he wouldn't. He can't remember me smoking, which to me is a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my dad smoking. We used to live in a bungalow, and he used to be decorating the place all the time because the walls were yellow. Because he smoked, he started when he was 5. I've spoken about him before, but he started when he was 5, and he smoked he must have got up to 80 a day or 60 or 80 a day or something like that. I don't even know how you have time to do that, but anyway.
Oh, I was just constantly.
Yeah.
So I decided I basically went cold turkey with I had a bit of help from the GP. I didn't really attend any meetings as such, but I had an issue, and once I realised and I came to terms with I had this, you've always, people that drink a lot know that they've got, and they're always in that, the Egyptian river, always in denial, and it's one of these things where you've got to. The only person that can help you is you. Yeah. Really, you've got to want to do something. So now we're going to skip a long way forward. So I've managed to stop drinking. I say I've been sober 15 years this year. I haven't smoked, haven't drank. And I'm very conscious of it. I still go on all-inclusive holidays. I still go to pubs when they're open. I still go to dinner parties. I still go, but I just have lime and soda, or I drink water. I drink lots of water. I'm drinking probably 7 pints a day currently. And yeah, I feel better now, than I ever have done, if I'm honest with you. So I put on a lot of wasp. The problem with alcoholics, the problem with people that drink is they tend to get lots of calories through the alcohol, so they don't tend to be very big. Alcoholics tend to be quite slim, small people. You don't tend to get very many heavily set fat alcoholics because they don't eat. Because you get. I was
talking about this yesterday with Paul. He said at uni he was drinking loads and eating loads, and he put on loads of weight. And I said at uni I was pretty much an alcoholic because I just drank loads and didn't eat. Yeah. So I was skinny, but I drank loads. Yeah. And it doesn't make you feel very good.
Just flushing your system out. You just flush your system with the taking in. So, so I put on a lot of weight, and I went up to 22 stone 5, which was my heaviest weight. I was coaching rugby. I was working for Rugby Tots at this point. And one of the things I was noticing with the Rugby Tots is that because you're working with young children, you've got to not only just tell them what to do, you've got to demonstrate. So when you're running a guys, I was constantly out of breath, and I'd literally have to wait after we ran a simple little drill. I'd have to sit down with them and wait to get my breath back before then I can explain what we're going to be doing next, or why we were doing what we were doing, etc., etc. And I took the dogs I took my 2 dogs and I took them for a walk at Shearwater Lake with my eldest daughter. And I was walking up a bank. It was near a bank holiday Monday, but I was walking up this slight incline. And I got to the top of it and I couldn't breathe. And I thought to myself, do you know what? This is crazy. This is absolutely mental. And I was, how was I? Probably, well, I'm 49 now, so it's probably
when I met you, you were 44, 45, I think.
Yeah, it was probably 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And I thought, do you know what? I got to do something about this. And I spoke to her about it. And I got home and I was scrolling through the internet, and BKS jumped up on my Facebook feed. So I made the call. You rang me straight back. And mate, I can't thank you enough for what you did for me. And I'll be absolutely honest with that. It's an amazing journey. And I mean, I know I turned up. I turned up and I put the work in. But you know what I liked about it, I was very unsure. I've always been quite conscious of like going to gyms and being in that gym environment, and he's watching him lifting that, and can he lift that, and what can he lift, and what can she do, and all this sort of stuff, and the girls with all the makeup and all this sort of stuff on the treadmills, and it's not for me. That's not the environment I want to be in. So when I seen the ad for your classes in an outdoor space, I thought, you know, let's give it a go. Didn't even know what kettlebell was. Never even seen one. Never, because they're never used. They're never used.
Exactly. Nobody knows how to use them, so stay clear of them. Not anymore. Everyone wants one in lockdown. You can't get them for.
It's fucking horse. So when I came down to you, and I remember coming down tonight, I shook your hand, and we did the trial, and you know, everything was out with me. My mobility, was you know, shocking, and it's learning and learning new techniques and learning the way your body moves. And I think I remember probably for about the first week, maybe even the first 2 weeks, I don't think I really lifted a weight at all. It was all about body movement and how to make sure that.
Well, a 12-kilo bell was heavy for you, wasn't it? The thing is, you weren't weak though. You were really strong. Didn't you used to get called a crane at work or something?
Yeah, in my previous life, when I worked for an electrical company, and we used to work these big heavy motors, and I could pick anything up, but I was picking it up incorrectly. It's people can pick things up. People are strong, but technique is the key, and people that don't, you just come along and pick things up, and they can end up doing some serious pain. So
I remember in that first couple of weeks as well. So the 2-week trial that you did, I remember getting a text message of you after the first week, I think it was. And you were like, I don't know if this is for me, you know, because my back's sore. This is sore. I just can't. Yeah. You kind of got really demoralized very quickly. So I just texted back and said, look, finish the 2-week trial. We'll focus on mobility. Go and see someone who knows what they're talking about as well. And you went to see an osteopath, I think. And then I spoke to him. He hasn't. There's no problem. It's just he's weak on this side rather than that side. And then we went from there. And then obviously, well, we'll talk about the rest as well. But that was. That's the main issue I get with people is like they start out and then they go, right, I'm achy in places I didn't know, my back's sore, this is sore, and it's like, right, that's normal. You know, if that's happening a year down the line, okay, we need to look at that, but that's normal in your first couple of weeks, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was certainly so you know, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And you know, I came down, and you know, the rest of the guys down there, very supportive bunch. Fantastic crack, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I bumped into Greg. I seen Greg the other day actually outside Sainsbury's with his full-faced beard on.
He's lost that now. He's got rid of it. He's got the hair, but he got rid of the beard. Yeah.
Okay.
I think his customers, because he was doing Zoom calls with his customers, and they would take the piss out of him.
But yeah, so it, you know, the kettlebell. You know, the rest of it with you know, progressing and slowly progressing, and you know, the time it was taking to learn how to make your body move, and mobility stuff. And I still use the mobility stuff now. You know, I still use that, and I've got kettlebells that are in the garden that I use on a regular basis for strength training. Yeah. Because now obviously I do lots of running now. You know, I'm not particularly good at it, but it keeps me.
I wouldn't say that, like, but you know. Well, you're better at it than you would have been when you were 22 stone, put it that way.
Absolutely. I'm probably fitter now than I was in my rugby playing days, to be honest with you, at 49. So the weight started coming off really rapidly with the kettlebells. The one thing that I did learn very quickly about the strength training work is that, you know, you're burning calories even after the session is finished. It's just not during the session, but after the session is finished, you're still burning calories. I got my eating on point.
That was the big thing, I think. I mean, like, you know, doing training and that is great, and it does help, and it helps you move better. But your thing was like you said, addictive personality. You were addicted to food after that, weren't you? When you gave up drinking and smoking, it was like, well, I've got to do something.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of these things. It was one of these things where, you know, you cannot out-train a bad diet. It's impossible. You cannot do it. It's no good. And I can remember the first conversation. I think I'd done my first half marathon. And I put up online saying, right, I'm going to go and smash a Domino's pizza. And I always remember you messaging me and you saying, what are you eating a pizza for? And I said, I'm going to have a treat. You said, well, you're not a dog. You don't need a treat. Said, and your words to me was, you're not a dog. You don't need a treat. What do you need a treat for? You just, and then we talk about the people that go to the gyms and then come out the gyms and then go to Nando's. And because they've done this again. And I use that all the time.
Yeah.
I use that.
Was that the half marathon you did with pneumonia, or was that a different?
Yeah, it was very well then at all, and it was
because that was that was your first one, wasn't it? I think that was that the half, and you were doing it for charity, weren't you? So you were like, well, I can't not do that. You raised like $2.5, $3 grand or something, didn't you?
$4,000 I raised. I did.
There's no pressure there then.
No, I did it for Crohn's and colitis, and I did it because my mother-in-law passed away over 10 years ago now. And I just want to do something. And I thought, well, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it for a cause. So I thought, let's, you know, I don't want to become one of these charity wankers sort of thing. You know, I don't want to become one of these people that sort of just sort of raise some money for, you know, tossing a coin or washing cars and stuff like this. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to run a half marathon. Never thought I could do it in my life. Seen it, been down there, watched it. You know, I'd always been a sprinter. Never run any kind of distance at all. And I thought, you know what, give it a crack. And probably on the Thursday prior to the Sunday, I started getting a bit tight in my chest, and I felt a bit rough, and got this cough started, and still doing the kettlebell sessions, and I was like I say, I'd raised £4,000 for charity. Anyway, on the Saturday, I felt absolutely dreadful. Went to bed. Sunday morning, woke up. And Sunday, it was a no. So I thought, I'll have a crack at it, see how we get on with it. So I walked down, live in Coombe Down in Bath. So I walked down, anyone knows where Bath is. I walked down from Coombe down to the Rec, down to the start of the half marathon. And I just started nice and easy, nice and steady. 7 miles, I couldn't breathe. My lungs were on fire. Anyway, I completed it. I think I did it in 2:32 or something. I think it was 2:32 or something. Which I was chuffed with. I was absolutely, you know, just to complete it. I went to the GPs on the Monday, because I went to bed Sunday night. On the Monday morning, I woke up. The bed was it's like I wet the bed. The bed was just drenched with sweat.
It was like when you were, you know. I bet you that's happened before. I've done that before.
Well, I took a photo of it, and I got a GP's appointment, went down, and I showed them and they said, yeah, and they listened to my lungs. They said, right, you've got pneumonia. Okay, so I had pneumonia, and then I was ordered back home 2 weeks bed rest, really, and I was on antibiotics and I was on inhalers and stuff, and I just done the Bath half marathon, and then I sort of 2 weeks later, my middle daughter Zoe was a massage therapist at the time, and she was down at Bath College, and she said to me that I need to do a case study. Can you come down and I'll do give you a massage. Hot stone massage. I don't know what that was, but hot stone massage. So I went, okay. And I hadn't been out of the house, and I only just got off the antibiotics. So I walked down from Coombe Down. It's a mile and a half down to the college. Outside the college, I collapsed, and they blue lighted me straight into the RUH, and suspected heart attack and all this sort of stuff. And it was pleurisy, so the pneumonia turned to pleurisy, and fluid on my lungs and all this sort of stuff. So that was my first half marathon, and I got over that.
And it didn't put you off either, because you've done loads more since then.
Currently to date, I've done 13 half marathons, I think, so far.
How many marathons?
5.
Right.
Five marathons.
And you've done an ultra as well, haven't you?
I've got 50K, just over a marathon, 50K. I'm going to try and do maybe 100K next year if my body allows it. If I get the training in, I'm due to do the London Marathon this year. Whether it goes ahead or not, I don't know. It's in not, but the new date for the London is October the 4th. But then they're going to make a decision at the end of the month. But the problem with that is that, you know, you've got to start your training now, because, you know, if they turn around and say it's going to go ahead, you know, they're leaving it at the last minute, which is fine. I run
everything is, nobody knows what's happening to this, so that's the way it goes.
I mean, everyone's an expert on it, aren't they? But
so
yeah, we're
just something, because I've dragged a kettlebell in here, right, just to prove a point on something. So we were talking about strength and mobility and all of that. So how much did you lose? You were 22 stone when you started. How much did you lose?
Kilos.
50 kilos, yeah? So I dragged this thing through the flat specifically. People who are listening won't be able to see it, but if you're watching, you will. So I dragged it through specifically, so I'm going to bloody use it because I've done this. So I'm just going to make some noise out in the background because this... Oh, bloody hell. This... Oh, Christ, is a big belt. That's a 40 kilo belt, right? 40 kilos that is. It's bloody heavy. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. I'll just put it down. I've dragged that through the flat especially. So that's 40 kilos, right? So I've just picked it up from there and brought it here. 10 kilos more than that. And you were carrying that around with you everywhere you went. And I tried to explain that to people, right? How you can be... Sorry, I'll come back. How you can be, fair enough, you want to get back in shape. So people might say, right, well, I'll go and start a couch to 5K, all that, which is nothing wrong with and all of that, but they'll go, right, I'll go and do that thing first. And it's like, if your body's not strong enough to carry you around, you're going to have a problem, aren't you? Which is great because you got into the running, but you got into running after you'd done all the stuff beforehand. And then actually it's worked really well. So you've gone and you did... You know, you started out running slowly, then a bit faster, then 10K, half marathon. And then it was like, right, I'll do a marathon. But you didn't do it straight away. You trained for it and waited. And it's like, that's a decent progression. And it's taken you kind of 4 years to go through that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, one of the things for me, especially after the first half marathon that I did, Peter, was that I listened to so many people that said they do all the training, they do the event, and then afterwards they stop. And I don't understand why people. I couldn't do that personally, and that's why I've progressed, and that's why I'm always looking at different ways of, you know, of training and ways of progressing. So, you know, I've done the 50K. I now want to do a 100K, and maybe who knows? Maybe triathlon. Maybe have a look at a triathlon. Maybe have a crack at that. I'm not the best swimmer in the world, so that's something I need to work on. But yeah, I can't remember where I picked this up from, but someone said to me a couple of things about, you know, making small changes. And making small changes will make a massive difference. So someone said to me about a pilot of an airplane. And he said, if that pilot of the airplane gets all his courses, if he changes the degree by 1 notch, it's not going to make a massive difference. But if he changes that degree every time he gets in that cockpit, in 2 months, you'll be in a different country.
Yeah.
Okay. Small changes make a massissive. So you can't jump into something. You've got to make a very, very small changes. And when I talk to people now about, you know, I've got lots of people on my Facebook Messenger, lots of people that are suffering from different kinds of addiction issues, whether it be drugs, alcohol, gambling, food, personalities, all these sort of stuff. And I try and help people. And the one thing I do try and say first is, like, you know, you've got to look after number one. Mm-hmm. And another corny one I hear quite a lot is that, you know, when you get onto an airplane and they're, you know, the air stewardesses are doing all the safety instructions, and they say to you, know, if you lose altitude and the cabin pressure drops, the mask is going to drop down. And I always say, put the mask on yourself before you put it on someone else. Because if you don't look after yourself, you're no good for anyone else. And I think
Exactly. And people try to do that all the time. They'll be like, I give loads of myself to all these other people. It's like, but you're always tired. You're always burnt out. Sometimes you're angry. You get annoyed with the people around you at home because you're giving all of your energy to all these other people who you're helping, which is great. But what about the people who you live with? What about the people who are closest to you? You know what I mean? So I've been through that, as you know. Yeah. And it got described to me over a pint, in fact, that if you've got like this much left in your pint glass and someone comes in, you go, you have a bit of that, you have a bit of that, you have a bit of that, you've got now left. Whereas if you've got a barrel full of the stuff and you can keep filling your glass up, so you can give someone some, but you can fill yours back up. So you just got to keep doing that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I think it is slowly catchy monkey, and you're getting back, and that even applies to when I first came to your kettlebell sessions. When you did the 2 weeks trial, it was a case of nice and slowly looking at movement, not a case of just going down and picking a bell up and swinging it around. And I remember one of the first things I did. I was at a sports centre in Dorchester, and you've been showing people have been doing the snatches in the class, and I was lifting some weight. I could probably press quite a 20-kilo bell then at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Dorchester, and there was a 12-kilo kettlebell. No, it was a 10-kilo kettlebell, and it was on the floor inside this gym hall. And I thought, I'm going to go at a snatch with that. I'm going to just have a little crack at it. I've never done one before in my life. So I bent down, I picked it up, I flung it above my head, and I threw back about 40. Okay, so maybe I haven't really planted myself to the floor properly. And it was just like, okay, now we know what we got to do. Now we know what we've got to do. And I like that. I like that nice, slow progress into, don't just jump into something. Nice and slow.
Do you know what popped up in my Facebook feed the other day? I saw it. Do you remember posting this? I think it was 3 years ago. And I shared it at the time. And it was you. It was a picture of all of your blood
medication
that you were taking back to the... you were like, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to take it all back. And
Yeah.
that was brilliant.
Yeah. That popped up. And I thought, the first thing I thought, I can remember when the photo was taken, and because I was a big old unit, my blood pressure was ridiculously. I couldn't give you the figures, but it was ridiculously high, and I was on.
Well, you didn't tell me. You were like, I kept something from you at the start.
No,
blood pressure was sky high. I was like, Paul, you were 22 stone. I know that. It's like.
It works out. There's a few issues there, but I was, I was blood pressure tablets, and it just goes to prove that
how many pills were you on though?
Mate, I was on so many. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous amount of blood pressure pills. I was a mess. I really was a mess.
You got it down to like 1 pill a day, didn't you? I've used
yeah, and now I don't take anything at all. And
oh really? Oh right, wow.
Yeah, nothing at all now. Nothing at all. And I think now I use my fitness as I've done all that. That like for a half marathon, it's always getting under 2 hours for a half marathon is the way forward. And I've done that now. I think 1:51 is my quickest time for the half. I did that at probably 48.
Faster than I've ever done it.
Well, it's one of these things. So I can regularly now get under 2 hours. And what I tend to do now is I help people that want to get under the 2 hour barrier. So I helped someone in Bristol last September. She never thought she could do it. She runs with our group. Constantly running at probably, around about 2:15-minute pace. And I said to her, look, just come with me. I said, don't look at your watch. Don't look at your watch or anything. Just run with me. I'll get you through it. And we got her in at 1:50, 1:58, something. In fact, she actually beat me because she came in at 2:999 and I came in at 3,000. So,
well, that's where people get. I mean, I'm not a runner. I'm not a running coach. I don't know that much about it. But I think that's where people, they go, right, I need to be able to cross the line at 2 hours, so to start out quickly. And it's like, no, you need to be able to pace yourself to be able to do it in that 2 hours and have a little bit left at the end.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Negative splits and all that sort of stuff it is quite complicated, depending on how you can do it. Or some people, they can't do that. They need to go off fast and then hold on for their life. But yeah, so now times now to me, I run for enjoyment. I run for survival. To be honest with you, I run just to keep myself.
Cool. Right, I was going to say I like to keep these to around about 40 minutes because otherwise, we never know whether we're going to listen to the whole thing or not. But this is a great place to kind of draw a line on it, because what we're going to talk about very quickly now is where you've just brought everything to, and you said you've got this little group. So you just basically, you're not coaching anyone or that. You're just saying, I'm off out for a run. You post on Facebook, don't you? I'm off out for a run tonight. Obviously, it's a bit different at the minute, but usually it's like, I'm off out for a run tonight. Who's coming? We'll meet here. We'll be doing roughly this pace. Or you say, we'll do the pace of the slowest runner. Or we'll run a bit faster, but we'll keep stopping and letting you, you can run little groups and stuff like that. How many people have you got? kind of doing that now, or does it vary?
I do a group on a Monday. I'll do a group on a Monday evening. That in Bath, because what I normally do is I normally run in the Radstock Westfield area with a group of runners out there throughout the week. But on a Monday, I'm not with the group, and so what I do is then I just open it out for people that want to come along, and it's it's parents of rugby tots and some of them come along, and we can have it's a free running group. It's completely their choice of what they want to do. Sometimes we have up to 11, 12, 13 people come along. And then sort of people always get et up with pace and get up with how far. I mean, the one thing about a run, you'll always see about the runner, and the same as with you being a strength coach, people always come to you, I'm not going to be strong enough. People come to a running group, I'm not going to be fast enough. I'm not going to be good enough. So what we do is we run off, and if people get left behind, we loop back. So the people in the front just turn around, loop back, run behind them, and everyone runs together so no one gets left behind. Or we run, and it's a nice, steady, you burn more calories running slower than you will faster, because you're moving for a longer distance. You're taking that little bit longer. So the more times you're out, I could run 7 miles in an hour, and I could burn, for example, 800 calories, or I could run 7 miles an hour and a half and burn 900 calories, because I'm moving a lot longer. So. Yeah, but it's a free running group. People, we usually meet at Sydney Gardens, and we just do a loop of Bath. I'm going to do it.
If someone wants to get involved in that, how can they find it? Or can they just follow you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'll follow Paul Hurley on Facebook. As soon as we get this, I don't think hopefully it'll be too long now before we can get back going again. And we meet Monday nights, probably about 6:30, something like that. And it's a nice friendly group, really, really social.
Yeah. It's great because you can run and pass like us. Yeah. The minute you got your head torches on and you're just like bouncing along like that, it's like, hey, there he is.
But it's it's a great group, and it's good to unwind, and it's good to give yourself something. I run for, like I said, for survival. For me, things like with the coronavirus and all this different things going around now, I think put yourself in a position where you can give yourself the best possible chance of something nasty coming along and be able to fight that. So
absolutely, yeah. You want to live, especially like you say, you're a granddad now, so you want to be there when you're when the little boy grows up, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is one of those things. So yeah, well, that's cool. Well, honestly, it's been fantastic to catch up because I haven't spoken to you for ages, so it's been really good to catch up.
A long time.
And like I've been saying to everyone, honestly, I wasn't sure about getting guests on this thing. I was like, who wants to come and chat to me on this and all that? But actually, it's been really good. Everyone's like, as soon as I've asked, they're like, yeah, of course I will. Of course I will. And it's been great. And I've been saying to everyone, we'll get you back on because that was brilliant. That was really good. And obviously, this is just touching the surface, and the same with everyone else. It's just touching the surface of all this stuff that's out there that people can be doing. But there's just too much information, or all this stuff that's out there confuses the hell out of people. And it's like, no, keep it as simple as possible. And just do the thing that you want to do, right? So it might not be working with me doing kettlebells. Like people are just like, that's not my thing. So they can come running with you or go and do, anything. But it's like, just trying to get all these things out there to give, so someone can find exactly what's for them. So yeah.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on.
Well,
no, and touching back very, very quickly, on the original point about the drinking and stuff like that, if anyone has any concerns or anything, there's lots of different advice out there. If they want to speak to me, you can hit me up on Facebook and then send me a message, and we can have a chat about different issues. Any kind of addiction, doesn't matter what it is, but maybe I've got a few little tips that I can help people with if they need it.
Absolutely. You're lucky that I haven't got a massive listener base because you would be inundated. But I'm not exactly Joe Rogan, so it doesn't matter. So that's. But there you go. Imagine that. What does he get? Like 90 million downloads or something? You'd be like,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to get rid of my phone. Oh. Anyway, I'll let you get back to your decorating, gardening, and all that sort of stuff. And thanks for coming. And we'll have you on again.
Cheers, boss.
Good man. Talk soon. Ta-ra.
Yeah, mate. Cheers, buddy. Bye.